Rushing through the airport, I felt my phone buzz inside my bag. At the gate, I noticed 3 missed calls from my office in Los Angeles. My phone rang again. "Call your sister," said our office assistant, Ingrid. "What's wrong?" "It's your brother." "Moss?" I asked. I have 3 brothers, but Moss came to mind first. He was the bonus sibling I gained the summer I turned 6 when his dad and my mom Brady Bunched our families into one. The night we met, Moss looked at my mom, my brother, and me and said, "How come they all wear glasses?" We were nerds, they were jocks. I instantly admired this sandy-haired athlete whose sea-blue eyes sparkled with mischief. Even his name, Moss, evoked something wild. Though small, he dominated every room he entered, bringing with him trails of Irish Spring and Ace bandages. He charmed with a throaty laugh and a tilted megawatt grin. At 11, he had game. Even grandmothers swooned. He became my stepbrother, but we ditched the step part. He was my brother, blood or not. Growing up, we shared secret sibling language, mixtapes, and countless hours of MTV. He liked to call me Amos the Famous, after the cookies. Moss also broadened my world. He taught me to ski, introduced me to his favorite band, Kiss, and even selected my first boyfriend. Pointing to the tow-headed boy, Moss said, "You'll dig him, Amos. He's a good kid with a killer arm." While I preferred imaginary adventures of Anne of Green Gables and the Black Stallion, Moss chose live-action thrills. When Hurricane Alicia loomed, Moss grabbed his surfboard. "You're really going down there?" I asked. "Hell yeah," he said. "It's gonna be gnarly." On that quick airport phone call, Ingrid said Moss had been in an accident. "Is he okay?" "No," she said. "I'm so sorry." Stunned, I slid down the pillar I'd been leaning against and called my sister. On her hello, my silent shock gave way to heaving sobs. I tucked my head between my knees. "It happened last night," she said. "He was riding his Harley. They think the tire caught a hole, throwing him into a tree." "I can't believe it," I whispered. In a flash, I was standing with Moss in our childhood driveway in Houston. I was a high school senior, and he just graduated from UT. After we hugged goodbye, I watched his overpacked Ford Bronco drive away and head to Los Angeles. Final boarding for Delta Airlines Flight 386. I dragged myself on board and slunk into the seat. The penetrating white noise of takeoff muted reality for a moment. Once airborne, the certainty of a mossless world came into sharp focus as I fell farther into agony, my stomach muscles wrecked from repressing desperate wails. Unsuspecting strangers munched on peanuts, laughed with friends, and calmed crying babies. Life blared in technicolor as I sat blurry and gray, my heart in shreds. Almost a year earlier, when I'd landed my Hollywood dream job with Warner Brothers, I called Moss. "I got it," I screamed. "But now I have to pack up and leave?" He'd loved living in California, so he was excited for me to make that same leap. "Texas isn't going anywhere, Amos," he reassured me. 8 months later, he was dead. Sitting powerless in my window seat, I replayed the news over and over. How could this happen? He was only 39. Back home in LA, I swerved between fits of rage, anguish, and wonder as relics of Moss popped up around me. a whiff of Irish Spring, rock and roll all night blasting from satellite radio, and there were motorcycles everywhere. My commute from West Hollywood to Burbank meant 30 minutes in traffic amidst weaving swarms of motorcycles. They taunted with aggressive, thundering motors and menacing metal grills. I'd honk in protest as their taillights faded away. Then one day, reading a magazine, I was struck by a photo of a motorcycle rounding a bend in Malibu, one of Moss's favorite spots. I imagined him smiling as he angled the coastal curve. Suddenly, I saw myself on the bike, wind whipping through my hair. Then that same motorcycle flew off a cliff. My insides plummeted. What was I thinking? How could I consider taking a ride after what happened to Moss? But no matter how hard I tried to push it down, the curiosity kept resurfacing. Am I missing something? I wondered. I had to know. So I called Mike, a friend with a Harley who'd ridden for years. On the morning of our ride, I looked up at the cloud-streaked sky and imagined Moss watching. I felt more excitement than worry. But at Mike's oceanfront bungalow, I took one look at that Harley waiting in the driveway, and I stalled. What the hell am I doing? When we're out by the water, Mike said, you'll forget about the bike. He held my hand as I slowly climbed aboard. The engine growled as he eased us onto Pacific Coast Highway, sending out pungent wafts of exhaust. I clung to Mike's back and tried to breathe like a yogi. Trees and cars blurred by as we gained momentum. The wind whipped across my unprotected body like tiny needles. My belly churned and heart raced with each boom of grinding gears. I held my breath, closed my eyes, and gripped tighter as the bike zigzagged down the road. Then, behind my clenched eyes, Moss appeared. He was watching me panic like the first time I wobbled on skis. I could see that signature grin, teasing and supportive, and I heard him. You can do this, Amos. You'll get it. Breathing in the salty air, I opened my eyes to the Pacific's soapy peaks. The rocking chair motion soothed my prickled skin and unsteady stomach. The bike felt warm and solid beneath me. That gnarly growl had transformed into a rhythmic hum that I respected now that I was a part of it. Right then, I got it. Moss's go-for-it attitude and thrill for adventure never wavered. He took risks not because he was reckless, but because survival was never the goal. Living was the goal. Moss inspired me to strap on skis, hop on a surfboard, and move across the country. During my ride, I felt him nudging me again. I was cruising on the back of a Harley with deeper appreciation for my brother's spirit. I haven't ridden a motorcycle again since that day, but I don't have to. Anytime I question myself or feel unsure, I can return to that moment. With the ocean to my left and the mountains to my right, I feel Moss riding with me. His raspy laugh echoes as the surf crashes below. I take a deep breath, loosen my grip, and lean back into the wind.